into the next type of application that will be submitted to CDSCO. It is an import license application. So for an import license application, the foreign manufacturer who intends to import their devices into India through a distributor or an authorized agent or an importer, whatever the terminology we may use. So they'll have to appoint an Indian authorized agent who will be responsible on behalf of the foreign manufacturer in India. So this Indian authorized agent should have a few requirements to act as an Indian authorized agent. So the first requirement is that the Indian authorized agent should be, of course, a resident of India. They should have an active corporate identification number, and also a valid wholesale license under 20B, 21B is to be applicable. And they should have a power of attorney issued by the foreign manufacturer on their name in order to act as an authorized agent. The Indian authorized agent should also have a registered Sugam account for medical devices in which they can apply for applications to CDSCO. So these are few of the requirements to act as an Indian authorized agent. So now moving on to the obligations of the Indian authorized agent. The Indian authorized agent is supposed to liaise with the CDSCO on the application status or any product related inquiries. They will be the point of contact between the foreign manufacturer and the CDSCO. The Indian authorized agent will take care of all the importation activities at the customs port office, including customs clearance or any labeling sort of issues or any invoice related activities. The Indian authorized agent is supposed to take care of them. The reporting of complaints, adverse events, and serious adverse events is a responsibility of the Indian authorized agent, and they should comply to all the requisites proposed by the respective state licensing authority of that particular state, and they should report post approval changes made to the device or in the manufacturing facility. That is the responsibility of the Indian authorized agent, and all the post market surveillance activities for the device in India will be taken care by the Indian authorized agent, and support with the import license number and name and address of the importer to be added on the label, that has to be taken care by the Indian authorized agent. Submission of all the applications in the Sugam portal in the account which the Indian authorized agent has, or that those submissions will be taken care by the Indian authorized agent again. A foreign manufacturer cannot directly submit an application to CDSCO. So these are few of the obligations of the Indian authorized agent. So let us understand the requirements for importing medical devices into India. All medical devices, whatever class it might be, they all require import license to import and sell in India. So here in this case, the central licensing authority will be responsible for granting the import licenses for all risk classes, whether class A, B, C, or D. The central licensing authority will be granting the licenses, and the application for import license will be submitted in MD14, form MD14, and the foreign manufacturer needs to provide few certain regulatory documents like free sale certificate from country of origin or any of the GST of countries, or the plant registration certificate, CE certificates, declaration of conformity, etc. And an apostille power of attorney will be required to be issued by the foreign manufacturer to the Indian authorized agent, and that will be submitted in the application along with the plant master file with the details of the manufacturing site and device master file with the details of the device to the CDSCO. So these are few of the important requirements for importing a medical device in India. So this is a sequence stepwise manner to understand the import license process. So again, they have a form application of MD14 will has to be submitted in the online portal for medical devices. So in order to do that, the authorized agent has to execute a power of attorney who under the name of the Indian authorized agent. The foreign manufacturer has to issue a power of attorney, and along with it, all the regulatory documents, plant master file and device master file will be submitted. And once you accompany the requisite fees for the requisite fees based on the class of the device and the number of devices you're putting in the application, you submit the application in the Sugam account with the requisite fees. And after review of the application, the CDSCO generally takes 6 to 9 months to review the application, depending on the to and fro discussions within between the authorized agent and the CDSCO. So after issuing of after reviewing of the application, CDSCO will finally give an approval in Form MD-15, which will be valid perpetually. But however, a periodic renewal of the license has to be done for every 5 years with the requisite fees. So this is a simple pathway that we have put for the process for importing medical device into India. So here are few requirements for importing medical devices. The first one is a free sale certificate. And this is a mandatory document that is required from the country of origin or any of the GHTF countries, without which it is we can say almost impossible to get an import license from the CDSCO. And all the regulatory documents that we submit to CDSCO should have at least 6 months validity by the time of submission. The predicate device information is also important to be submitted in the application in terms of intended use, method of construction, and design. And the application in Form 14 needs to be digitally signed. There are no wet or electronic signatures accepted. It has to be digitally signed. And the power of attorney that is submitted to CDSCO needs to be apostilled in the country if the country of origin is from the Hague Convention. Otherwise, it needs to be legalized in the Indian embassy. And the India specific labeling subheadings has to be added to the label. So these subheadings are like import license number, imported and marketed by, MRP, etc. This information has to be added on the India specific label while you're submitting the application. And a real-time stability data is mandatory to confirm the shelf life of the device. If you're claiming a certain period of shelf life for the device, the real-time data should be mandatorily submitted. And a manufacturing site or the establishment registration certificate of along with the quality QMS certification is mandatory to submit in the import license application. The PMS procedures should also be submitted in the plant master file in order to establish the PMS activities that will be taken care in India. So these are few of the requirements or points that you can note when you're filing an application for import license. Um, Let us understand this with a typical case study of a foreign manufacturer, okay, company name ABC, for example. They were already registered in India, but they wanted to change the Indian authorized agent along with some changes in the design of the device. So this foreign manufacturer was not certain how to proceed further since they were about to change the Indian authorized agent. They didn't had proper support from the Indian authorized agent, so they were not certain how to proceed with the next steps. So the challenges that they faced are approval of the new changes of the design, the new changes that they planned to make in the design. They were not certain how to get those changes approved. And change in the authorized agent, what is the process to do so? They were not certain about that. And the post-approval change notification obligations are also a key factor for them to consider, because depending on the type of the change, whether it is a major change or a minor change, the post approvals has to be submitted to CDSCO, which is another liability for a foreign manufacturer. So they were also not certain how to proceed with the post approval change notifications, and also on smooth retention of the import license, without losing the market access they can retain the import license. They were not certain on the process. So this client ABC has approached HC Healthcare, and following are the strategies that we have, that we gave to the manufacturer. So we have filed a fresh application with the new authorized agent, along with the design changes, whatever changes they are suggesting in the design. We have filed a new application and then suggested the client to implement these to not to implement these changes until approval. So and then advised the client to continue the import of the device under the earlier Indian authorized agent. So they were able to continue to import the device through the earlier Indian authorized agent. And in the meanwhile, we filed a fresh application with the new authorized agent with the design changes. So the outcome for this application was they received import license for the new authorized agent within a span of 7 months, along with the design changes approved. And they have gained market access without any disruption of sales, because the earlier license was also existing. And after they got the import license for the new authorized agent, we have surrendered the old import license with the earlier authorized agent. So this is a typical case study to understand the process for import license. And if you have if you are coming across any of these kind of regulatory challenges and not certain how to proceed further, you can reach out to HC Healthcare to help you assist through the process. So now moving on to other type of applications, we have another application for import of investigational medical device, which is a new device. So this application is for hospital use. Okay, and this application is filed for small quantities of investigational medical device that can be imported in case of treatment of a patient suffering from a life-threatening disease or a disease causing serious permanent disability. Only in such life-threatening case, the hospital entity can file an application to CDSCO under for the hospital use. And this device needs to be approved by the country of origin. That is one of the requirement to file this application. And the application will be submitted in form MD18, and the medical officer of the or the superintendent of the hospital will file the application to the CDSCO. The device needs to be used exclusively for that treatment of that particular patient only, and the necessary quantity that can be imported will be determined by the central licensing authority based on the recommendation provided by the hospital. So this is one type of import application for a new medical device that has to be filed for a particular patient. There's another import license application to be filed for a single person. So here, this import license application again will be for a small quantity for the treatment of that particular patient. And this application will be filed in form MD20 along with the bona fide certificate from that personnel and the prescription of the medical practitioner. And of course, the quantity will be determined by the central licensing authority, how much quantity you can import into India based on the recommendation provided by the hospital. And again, this application is purely for a single patient use. So these are few of the various import applications that you can file